Sorry, part two. I had to pause it. All right, so the thing you're gonna need to put it on is this thing right here. This is the frame of your car. Normally you'll see these little latches here. This is the frame of your car. You put the jack on the frame of your car. All right. So I'm going to do that. Here is me doing it. You line it up. Oh, you probably want to see it. All right. Line it up. All right. Now you're going to twist it and turn it. No, can't really hold this. Turn it at the same time. Ah. Now you don't want to bring the tire all the way up because you want to make sure that there's still pressure on the tire itself. Okay? Because the next step after this is shake it a little bit, and when it's firm, it's on there, then you take this thing off, or just use a whatever millimeter it asks for, and you put it on your lug nuts like this. Oh, and actually, before you start any of this, always put your car on your parking brake on, so your car is not going to move anywhere. That, and if you have them, locks behind your tires, because that's even more safe. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to want to loosen this, and this is where Brian might come in handy, because I'm just not strong enough, but we'll see. So what you want to do is when you loosen and when you tighten your lug nuts, you go in a star pattern. So if you start here, you're gonna loosen this one, then go to this one, then go down to this one, then over to this one, then over to this one. It's a star pattern, so as you draw a star. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to do that. Hopefully, if I'm strong enough. And I'm not, so I'm gonna get my husband. All right, so the other thing to be mentioned too, that when you loosen them, you don't take them all off. Just make them finger loose. Loose enough where you can spin them with your fingers, but don't actually take them off yet. Okay? You just want to loosen them first. Now, this is when you jack up the car all the way. But just, well, not all the way, just so the tire's not touching the floor. But not too high, because then, well, that's safety issues. All right, so I'm going to do that. All right, so it's almost all the way up. It's getting there. So I'm just going to crank it a few more times. really, you only need it like just off the floor. So it's almost just off the floor. See how it's almost just off the floor, but not quite off the floor yet? A couple more spins, we should have it. All right. Which is good, because any higher probably wouldn't be safe. So see how it's just barely off the floor? I don't know if you see that with my camera. Just barely off the floor. That'll make your job a little easier too, because those tires are heavy. All right, so now I'm going to take your tool again with the star pattern. Now this time, you're going to take them off all the way. Again, in the star pattern. But leaving this one on so it has something to balance on. You always want to leave the top one on. Oops, you can't see that. So it has something to balance on and hold on to. So that'll be the last one I take off. So I'm going to go star pattern like this. It's like a backwards star. Alright. Alright, and you take off your tire. Alright, so two things also to let you know too. So you don't lose your lug nuts. These are called lug nuts. You can place them into your tire you're about to put on, or the tire you just took off, so you don't lose them. That's something that mechanics friends told me. But while the tire's off, you always want to just look at everything and make sure everything's good, because you hardly ever get the chance to actually look at everything on the inside. So you just want to make sure that your rotor's good, there's no major issues with it, no like dings or sways in it. If you see like waves in it, you know it's working. If there's too much, where you see this change here, if there's too much of a dip, then you know you're probably going to need one soon. You can check your pads. Usually you'll be able to see some thickness here. Be able to see how thick they are, and mine are good. They should be. I changed them a little bit ago. And just make sure all your wires are good. There's no corrosion, the wires or nicks or anything like that. It's pretty nasty in here. But go figure. And everything else is good. So, and everything looks good. So, woohoo! All right. So, everything is good in there. So now we put on our new tire. Okay. Sometimes they'll have like a lead for you, but it doesn't always have it. So you just want to line up the holes to the screws. There we go. and snug. Not on all the way. Get your lug nuts. Lug nuts, huh? You start again, your top one, and again with the star pattern. You're going to want to put it on. So you want to hand tighten it first with that star pattern. This one and this one. And this one. Then this one, obviously, it's the last one. And after you hand tighten them all, go back to your top one, hand tighten that one again, because it shifts as you tighten the rest. They all shift. So again, star pattern. This one, that one, that one, that one. Good. We're hand tightened. Now it's time to lower it. And of course you want to check your next tire ahead of time to make sure there's no holes or it's flat or anything like that. So, all right. So now we lower it. Where is it? There it is. All right. Now we lower it. Again, this one. Same deal as before. You always want to do it slowly though, because you don't want to damage your car. So always want to lower it slowly. Not too slow, but slow enough. You still want pressure on there. You don't want to lower it all the way yet, because your nuts are not tightened completely. You just want pressure on the wheels so you can tighten your lug nuts. And at this point too, you're going to want to read your manual to see how tight your lug nuts are supposed to be. If you don't have a torque wrench, which most people don't, luckily my husband does have one, just basically just tighten it as tight as you can until you can go to your husband or find a torque wrench, or go to a shop. Sometimes if you just ask them if they can torque it to a certain type thing, you explain what happened, and you just torque it, and if they could just torque it for you tight, they'll do it for free usually. But luckily my husband has a torque wrench, so I can do that. So almost there. All right, good. So my tire is on the floor, so now I can tighten this. So again, same deal with tightening. I'm going to tighten it with this first, and then go get my husband's torque wrench, because I just want to show you, if you didn't have one. So again, start with the top. And of course, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So go this way to loosen. So go this way to loosen, this way to tighten. So I'm going to go down to tighten it. So this way to loosen. So towards the driver to loosen, towards the trunk to tighten. And a couple of times I've jumped on it to make sure it's tight enough, but it's not 100% recommended. But if you're in a jam, you're on the side of the street, don't really have a choice, you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, well, I'm gonna tighten the rest of these. Be back. Oh yeah, so I just tightened this one. Again, star pattern. So next one I'm gonna go is this one. So you always wanna do the star pattern. So this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. All right, all right. And after you have them all tightened, then you're gonna wanna do it again, starting from the top. Because after you tighten the last one, the first one you did will usually be a little bit looser because now everything's smushed tighter against here. So you're gonna wanna basically repeat what you just did with the star pattern. Here, 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 here. And then go get a torque if you have one. All right, so the last thing you wanna do after your wonderful husband has torqued it for you, or if you have a torque wrench, you can do it yourself. So you want to check the tire pressure, make sure that it's at least 32 psi's. So you want to check that, and of course if it needs air, then you fill it. And then after it's all on and firm, then you finally finish fully unscrewing it down to the bottom, and you're all done. All right, that is how you change a tire. Bye, Kylie.